Come in.
Yeah, hold up. Let me get the stuff. What? Yeah. 40, right?
50.
Dude, you said 40 in our first measure.
Alright,
Come
man.
on, no.
No.
I don't have enough.
Too much heat out tonight. 50.
40, dude.
50.
No, I want
Take it or
40.
leave it. 50.
Stop. You okay? Someone's been stabbed. I need the police.
My name's Jared Biondi. I've been a crime scene investigator and a patrol officer around Calaveras County for almost 14 years now. Today, what you just saw in that video was a drug deal gone bad. So what we're going to do is run through the basics of a crime scene investigation. I'm going to be your crime scene investigator. I'll explain along the way what we're doing, and let's get started. Alright, so first off, when we come to the crime scene, this is prior to everyone been setting up. Ambulance has already come, paramedic, the civilian who was injured. Police have already set up a perimeter, as you can tell. And here, our first sign of evidence was a shoe print from when the suspect spilled the cocaine by running into the civilian. So as you can tell, our investigator right here, Nick, is trying to take a mold of the shoe print, which will help us get evidence on which kind of shoe he was wearing, such other like that. We've also taken pictures and everything to try and mold his shoe as well. So basically what we're going to do is get as much evidence to that shoe to see which kind of shoe he was wearing during this. It's obviously going to be broad, say he's wearing Vans, whatever print that is, but it will still help us narrow down to see who the actual murderer was. Alright, so now after we take the mold, or after my investigative partner Nick takes the mold, he'll kind of brush it off, try and narrow it down to just a few specks of what the shoe actually looked like. He'll send that off to forensics, then forensics will do the rest from there, come back with us what the evidence actually is. Now we'll move on to the second evidence we found, which was the bag of cocaine which was dropped by the suspect after he ran into the civilian. So as you can see, my investigative partner here is now putting the evidence bag of cocaine into a evidence seal bag. It's basically a Ziploc bag, anything we can get our hands on, just kind of seal that evidence in so it's not contaminated anyway. So basically he'll carry that off, seal it up, they'll send it to forensics as well, and then they'll get back to us, and vice versa, just the same as the shoe print there. Alright, now that the bag's been sent off to forensics, we're going to come inside, see more evidence. Make sure not to step in that, watch your head. Turn off the lights so you can see better. Let's go over here. Evidence 3, or the third item we found, was the knife. As you can see, our partner here is Jaden is detecting it for fingerprints, dusting it off. And he's going to actually take a fingerprint off of the knife so we can trace it back to who actually held the knife and who stabbed the victim. So after he's doing that, he's going to brush it off, see what fingerprints he can find. Alright, so we have the knife here. He laid it on the desk. Now he's going to take the tape, roll it over that fingerprint, put it on very gently, and he's going to rip it off as so. Not necessarily rip it, but just take the tape off, and that fingerprint shouldn't come back on the tape. Then we'll package that fingerprint up. We'll put it in a forensics bag, such as the Ziploc bag, onto that piece of paper there, and then we'll send it off to forensics, and then wait for that evidence back. Fourth item we found will then be the bandages. Bandages, not often that the paramedics will leave bandages, that just happen to be in this scenario that they did. So what we'll do, we don't have enough people on us right now to do this like in the moment. But what we'll do, we'll get the gloves on and everything as we do with every other thing, just to make sure that we don't contaminate or decontaminate evidence. We'll pick it up, put it in the bags as well, and then send that off to forensics as well, make sure it matches our victim, and see if any blood happened to come from the suspect as well. Fifth item of evidence we found was the actual table where the cocaine or meth was actually being like made, or we could say processed and packaged up, as you can see, as the lines it is in. Okay, so after we get all of our evidence, which the 5 pieces of evidence we have that are at least evidence of the crime, basically with every single piece of evidence we gather, we're all going to wear gloves, make sure not to contaminate the evidence. Every single piece of evidence will be bagged up and shipped to forensics, and then basically after that, we'll get it back from forensics and then see what's actually evident or helps us prove who had attempted this murder. With every single time we bag a piece of evidence, we also need to tag it with an evidence identification card. So as you can see here, we bag up the piece of the mold of the shoe print, and we'll also take, let me zip this up. We'll also take the evidence identification card and bag that up with it as well. So basically how you fill out an evidence identification, you'll start with the case number here, the item number, which our shoe print was 1. You'll go description of evidence, which it was a shoe print and the shoe size was about 10-inch shoe. And then type of offense, which is a 187 644 PC, which is attempted murder. Then we'll go with the date, May 3rd, 2018, time it was found, 2:10 p.m. Any remarks or details, which any remarks or details that we have evident there was that it was at least 6 inches from the door, like the actual exit of the door. You'll write down your agency, which we are a part of CHSPD, and then you'll sign it off as Nick Niederbrack did. So basically send this off to forensics, and then you're done. Okay. So after we're going to send that bag off that has the shoe print in it and the evidence identification card in it, we'll send it off to forensics, then we'll wait to get that back. And while we're actually gathering evidence for this entire crime scene, we'll have what we have here is the evidence chain of custody tracking form. Basically just submits descriptions of evidence. So basically I'll just show you guys how to fill one out. So say we do the knife. It was the 3rd item we found, so 1 and 2, this pencil does not fucking. Okay, so basically since we do item 3, which is the knife, we'll go items 1 and 2 just to get that out of the way. We're not going to fill that out for now. So item 3, quantity 1, we only have 1 knife. Description of evidence. We'll say knife. Start out with the basic genre of it. If the blade was serrated, which it was, so serrated blade. Basically color of it, color of the handle, which happened to be brown, or if you want to be descriptive, you can say like the type of wood. We don't need that though. And then basically silver blade, stainless steel. And then any markings or anything you see on it, which was blood stains. But we don't actually know if that was for sure blood stains or not, so you could say suspected blood stains. So that's basically how you fill out for description of evidence, but you're going to have to do that for every single item that you do. That's just showing you how to do it for this one. So basically we'll send this off after we wrap up the crime scene, and that's basically it. My name is Jared Biondi. Hope you learned something.
What if I did that? Or actually, it's not bad. $120.